Big question. What makes a good leader? What would happen if everyone stopped following the rules? Shay asked as he looked up at the starry sky. He and his friends were gathered around a small fire in his village, discussing the upcoming community project. Would things fall apart, or would we find a way to work together? The fire crackled softly, casting warm light on their faces. Shay was a natural leader, but tonight he felt the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders. The community project was important. It was their chance to improve the local playground, a place where all the children in the village played. But organizing the project wasn't going to be easy. It would require leadership, and Shay knew that leadership could take many forms. Shay was a thoughtful and adventurous boy, always curious about how things worked and why people did what they did. He loved helping others and often found himself taking the lead in group activities, whether it was organizing games at school or helping out in his community. But this project was different. It was bigger, more complex, and everyone was looking to him for guidance. Luckily, Shay had Uncle Musa, a wise and likable mentor. Uncle Musa was a respected elder in the community, known for his fairness and deep understanding of people. He often told stories from his youth, full of lessons that Shay found both fascinating and instructive. Uncle Musa sat beside Shay, watching the fire as he spoke. "Leadership is not just about giving orders, my boy," he said. "It's about understanding people, guiding them, and sometimes it's about knowing when to step back and let others shine." Shay nodded, trying to absorb Uncle Musa's wisdom. But there was more to learn. As the conversation continued, Uncle Musa began to describe the different types of leadership. Shay listened carefully, realizing that the success of their project depended on choosing the right leadership style. First, there's democratic leadership, Uncle Musa explained. This is where everyone has a say and decisions are made by the group. It's good for when you want to make sure everyone feels involved and heard. Shay thought of his friends, Chica, Amina, and the others. They all had different ideas about the project, and he knew they would appreciate being part of the decision-making process. But he also knew that sometimes too many opinions could slow things down. Then there's autocratic leadership, Uncle Musa continued. This is when one person makes the decisions and expects others to follow. It can be effective when you need to get things done quickly, but it doesn't always make people happy. Shay had seen this kind of leadership before in school. The headmaster often made decisions without consulting the teachers or students, and while things got done, there was always a feeling of resentment among the staff. And finally, there's laissez-faire leadership, Uncle Musa said with a smile. This is when the leader steps back and lets the group make their own decisions. It can work well if the group is motivated and capable, but it can also lead to chaos if no one knows what to do. Shay frowned. Laissez-faire leadership sounded risky. He could imagine his friends arguing over small details, with no one to guide them. As the fire died down, Shay realized that he needed to think carefully about how to lead the project. He needed to balance the different styles, using each one at the right time. But most importantly, he needed to understand what made a good leader. The next day, Shay met with his friends to discuss the project. They gathered in the playground, where the swings creaked and the slide had rusted over the years. Everyone had ideas, but no one could agree on the best way to start. "We need to repaint the swings first," Amina suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "No, we should fix the slide," Chica argued. "It's dangerous in its current state." Shay watched as his friends began to bicker. He remembered Uncle Moose's words and decided to try the democratic approach. "Okay, let's vote," he said. "Raise your hand if you think we should start with the swings." A few hands went up, but not everyone was convinced. Shay saw the challenge in keeping everyone happy, but he also noticed that by involving everyone in the decision, they were more motivated to work together. As the days went by, Shay found himself using different leadership styles depending on the situation. When they needed to make quick decisions, he took a more autocratic approach, giving clear instructions and setting deadlines. But when there was time, he let his friends take the lead, practicing a more laissez-faire style, which allowed them to be creative and take ownership of their tasks. Through it all, Shay learned that leadership wasn't just about telling people what to do. It was about knowing your team, understanding the situation, and being flexible enough to adapt to different challenges. Shei also discovered that being a good leader required a lot of self-regulation. There were times when he felt frustrated, especially when things didn't go as planned. But he learned to manage his emotions, staying calm and focused on finding solutions instead of dwelling on problems. He also worked on his social skills, realizing that effective communication was key to successful leadership. By listening to his friends and acknowledging their ideas, he was able to build trust and encourage cooperation. As the project progressed, Shei and his friends faced several challenges. One day, they ran out of paint, and another day, a heavy rainstorm washed away some of their hard work. But each time, Shei encouraged his friends to think critically and come up with solutions. "What do we do now?" Amina asked after the rainstorm. Shei thought for a moment, then said, "We'll have to start again, but this time, let's build a shelter to protect our work from the rain." By evaluating the effectiveness of different leadership styles and learning to adapt to changing circumstances, Shei and his friends managed to complete the project. The playground was transformed, not just by the physical improvements, but by the sense of teamwork and accomplishment that everyone felt. In the end, Shei realized that leadership was about more than just getting things done. It was about bringing people together, understanding their needs, and guiding them toward a common goal. A good leader wasn't necessarily the one who knew all the answers, but the one who could inspire others to find the answers together. As they stood in the newly renovated playground, Shei turned to Uncle Musa and smiled. "I think I understand now," he said. "A good leader helps others become leaders too." Uncle Musa nodded, proud of the young boy's growth. "Indeed, Shei, that's the true essence of leadership.